I started with a project that I created in Camtasia the old-fashioned way. There was a lot of animations in this project. If I scrub, you can see it happening. The reality is I wanted to try to recreate this using Snagit captures or the equivalent of that to make Camtasia.ai projects that I could then put together to replicate this. I started off by checking the scenes, and as I scrubbed through, I put a marker every place the scenery would change. Basically, I put 154 markers in this project. And what I did was navigate among the marker spots, and every time one of these speech bubbles would change, like you can see happening here, I would save a frame of that area, and I put that into Windows Explorer in a project folder. Here are all those separate saved frames of the individual scenes, as you can see here. And what I did was put all 154 here. Took quite a while to grab all these things, and after I had all 154, I made Camtasia.ai projects out of them. I basically built the projects out of blocks of 10 of these images at a time. Making more than 10 at one time would often cause an AI failure, so I stuck with 10. Even when I did that, a couple of times I couldn't get a project to work, but 10 worked mostly well. All in all, I ended up with, I think, 17 different projects made in AI that I assembled, did no edits at all, and then exported them as zip projects. Those zip projects were imported into Camtasia, loaded, and then added to the library as an individual asset. And you can see the 17, actually I think I had 18. I then assembled a new project in Camtasia consisting of those 17 or 18 assets that I imported, and if I scrub, you can see that this was the video that would have resulted if Camtasia.ai had produced a single project from all 154 scene images. I did that, and I produced this as is. I then edited this project, and in the edit process, let me open up one of these groups. In editing it, what I did was I removed the transitions that Camtasia.ai puts at the end of each of its projects. I deleted those, and then I also deleted all the animations on the scene images because it was just giving me too much eye candy. And in the process of doing that, I also had to fit each of those images back to the center of the canvas. That took a lot of time because there's 154 of them, but when I was finished, I then produced that project again, and I had a completely different experience from the one you see me scrubbing through here. I did not bother to touch the eye candy on the call-outs that you see. I just adjusted the scene images so that the narration that was trying to follow the speech bubbles was more logical, didn't fall off the edge of the thing. So here's that same project after I did those edits, and if I scrub through, you can see the major difference that stabilizing the scene images did in the resulting production. I produced both versions, and I've compared them to the original version of the video that I made some time ago. Next, we'll preview 3 short segments, one from each of those 3 productions, that demonstrate the difference between the original video and the two produced by Camtasia.ai. This segment is from the original video as produced in Camtasia by hand.
After I reached the river, I discovered that the only way I would be able to climb the mountain would be to walk along beside the river itself. I walked up the mountain as fast as I could. I stayed right beside the river, but I noticed that the further I went, the harder the walking became. It became very difficult to breathe.
This segment was as originally produced by Camtasia.ai.
After I reached the river, I discovered that the only way I would be able to climb the mountain would be to walk along beside the river itself. I walked up the mountain as fast as I could, staying right beside the river. But I noticed that the further I went, the harder the walking became. It became very difficult to breathe as I continued my climb.
This segment was made from the exported AI project as edited to better control the eye candy.
After I reached the river, I discovered that the only way I would be able to climb the mountain would be to walk along beside the river itself. I walked up the mountain as fast as I could, staying right beside the river. But I noticed that the further I went, the harder the walking became. It became very difficult to breathe as I continued my climb.